If you dare touch her one more time, I swear I will pull your whole empire down. You think anyone will believe a janitor like you?" Those words cut through the jazz music, the fake laughter, and the popping champagne bubbles. The sentence made every mask in that room crack little by little. That night was a charity gala at the Indigo House, one of the most luxurious venues in Dallas, where Texas high society draped themselves in glamour to raise funds for underprivileged children. But the truth, it was just a stage for the powerful to flaunt their wealth. In a corner of the room, Logan Price, 32, stood beside his cleaning cart. For 3 years, he had worked the night shift, mopping floors, emptying trash, dealing with what people threw away, even the things they did not want to see. And yes, they never saw him. To them, Logan was just a shadow in a Navy uniform, invisible, unimportant, easily forgotten. But that night, everything was different, completely different. Preston Hawthorne, CEO of Hawthorne Systems, the head of a software empire worth $2.3 billion, was radiant beneath the crystal chandeliers. Beside him stood Grace, his wife, a woman carrying a tiny life inside her. A glass tipped over, a cold laugh, then a slap. The sound rang crisp, sharp, merciless. Grace fell to the floor in silence. No one in the room dared move. All those refined people, the ones draped in luxury, power and hypocrisy, looked away. Silence, afraid of losing contracts, losing status, losing their place in their world. All of them except Logan. He didn't want to be a hero. He wasn't even sure he had the courage to speak, but he did. "Sir, please stop. She's pregnant." Preston spun around, his eyes flashing with rage. "What did you just say?" "I said stop, you're hurting her." Preston sneered, cold, contemptuous. Who do you think you are ordering me around?" There was no answer, but Logan did not back down. He did not know that moment, a single small sentence in a room full of power, would ignite a fight, not just for Grace, but for everyone who had been forced into silence. Every soul buried in fear, every voice silenced by 2 simple words. "Shut up, this is not just a scandal. This is a story about courage, honor, and the fire that lives in the human heart. You are watching Kindness True Stories, where untold stories are told in truth. If you believe justice still exists, hit subscribe so you don't miss the most moving stories of bravery and humanity. And before we continue, if you were Logan standing in that room full of silent people, would you dare to speak up? Before that night, Logan Price never imagined he would become known. He only wanted to get through each day. At 5 in the morning, as always, Logan woke up in his small 1-bedroom apartment in Oak Cliff, a neighborhood few chose to live in. But for him, it was all he could afford. He turned on his phone, reset the alarm for his son, Caleb, 7 years old. The boy was still fast asleep on the top bunk, clutching a worn-out teddy bear with one ear missing its fur. The apartment was sparse but meticulously clean, a habit from his job. Logan moved quietly, making breakfast, packing Caleb's lunch, the routine of fragile armor against the world's chaos. His life was a series of quiet battles, making ends meet, shielding his son from the harshness he knew too well, existing in the margins. At the Indigo House, he was part of the scenery, a man meant to be looked through, not at. That's why Preston's rage was so absolute. How dare this ghost, this nothing, interrupt his dominion? After Logan spoke, the air turned to ice. Preston took a step toward him, his polished shoes clicking on the marble. "Clean your mess," he hissed, gesturing to the spilled champagne, his voice low enough that only Logan and the cowering Grace could hear. "That's your job." Not talking, but Logan's eyes were on Grace, who was slowly pushing herself up, a red handprint blazing on her cheek, her eyes wide, with a terror that was older than this moment. He saw in her face what everyone else refused to see, a human being. He stepped forward, placing himself between Preston and Grace. It wasn't a dramatic movement, just a simple shift of his body, but in that room, it was a seismic act of defiance. "My job," Logan said, his voice firmer now, "is to clean this house. And right now, sir, you are the thing out of place." A collective gasp, muffled behind gloves and glasses, swept the room. Preston's face mottled with purple fury. He laughed, a short barking sound with no humor. "Security!" he shouted. But the two men in black suits at the door hesitated, their eyes darting between the billionaire and the janitor, and the woman on the floor. That hesitation was a crack in Preston's empire. In that split second, Grace spoke, her voice a whisper that carried, "Don't." It was just one word, but it was a dam breaking. She looked at Logan, then at the crowd, her hand protectively over her abdomen. "He's right, please." The scene unraveled quickly then. A socialite, her conscience pricked, pulled out her phone, not to film, but to call a trusted friend at the Dallas Star, a retired judge. His face grim, walked over and helped Grace fully to her feet. The spell of fear was broken. Preston Hawthorne was left standing alone in a circle of sudden, stark judgment. He was no longer a king, but a man who had gone too far in public. The gala ended not with the fundraiser's closing remarks, but with the low murmur of scandal and the flashing lights of police cars and press arriving at the valet. Logan gave his statement quietly, then slipped away before anyone could make him into a symbol. He went home to his sleeping son. The next days were a whirlwind Logan never asked for. The story exploded. Billionaire's gala assault exposed by Janitor. The silent witness at the Indigo House. Hawthorne Systems stock plummeted. Sponsors fled. The police investigation expanded, uncovering whispers of other silenced victims, other moments of brutality behind closed doors. Preston's empire, built on a facade of innovation and charity, began to crumble from within, exposed as rotten by a single act of inconvenient truth. Logan kept going to work, but now people saw him. Some thanked him, some glared, most just stared, trying to understand what makes a man risk everything for a stranger. He didn't have a grand answer. For him, it was simple. It was about the boy sleeping in the bunk bed, about teaching him that some lines should never be crossed. That silence in the face of wrong is its own kind of violence. He remembered his own mother, her own bruises hidden under long sleeves, and the silence that suffocated his childhood. He spoke for her too. Weeks later, a plain envelope appeared in his staff locker. Inside was a handwritten note from Grace Hawthorne. It read, "Thank you for seeing me. Because you spoke, I found the strength to speak. Because you stood, I found the strength to leave. The child and I are safe." There was no return address, just a single word, gratitude. Logan folded the note and put it in his wallet. He didn't need money or fame. That word was enough. The fire he ignited in that opulent room spread, sparking conversations about power, abuse, and the invisible people who hold our world together. It reminded everyone that courage isn't the absence of fear, but the decision that some things are more important than fear. Logan Price returned to his routine, to mopping floors under the quiet hum of fluorescent lights. But the world around him had changed, because he had chosen, in one defining moment, to be seen, to be human, to speak. And in doing so, he pulled an empire down, not with weapons or wealth, but with the unbearable weight of truth. This is the power of one voice. This is the true tale of how a shadow became a shield. If this story moved you, if you believe in the courage of ordinary people, then support our channel. Like this video, share it to spread the message, and subscribe to Kindness True Stories for more powerful narratives that remind us of our shared humanity. Your click isn't just a subscription, it's a stand for the stories that matter.